Martha, thanks for joining us. So the Crown Attorney is reviewing the shooting that took your daughter. As that's going on, how did it feel to watch the Derek Chauvin trial and verdict in the U.S. last week?
Oh, it kind of gives you hope to believe that, there's a possibility that justice can be served, that people aren't always willing to turn a blind eye.
Do you believe that more people are starting to understand or pay notice at all to systemic racism, especially as it pertains to policing?
Oh, it's starting to. It's. I think that there's still a long road ahead of us, for it to be completely out there and people acknowledging it completely and not just brushing it under the carpet.
An internal investigation found no wrongdoing on the part of the officer who shot Chantel. The Crown is looking at it, though. Where's that at?
I'm still waiting, and this is months after. So I received the call on December 23rd saying that the DEI had handed over their case to the Crown. And I still haven't heard anything back from the Crown.
In our discussion, you had made a point that I thought was interesting about, police receive 6 months or a year training and then are handed a gun, and it takes 7 years
and it takes a lawyer. 7 years. So why aren't these laws changed for the police as well? They have to know the law in 6 months. There's no way that's possible. A lawyer's gone for 7 years and a cop can go for 6 months.
Do you think that training will fix it, though? Is that something that you think that, just longer training would be the solution to, the brutality that we're seeing so often that's our people are on the receiving end of?
I think so. More training and being able to hold our police for accountability. What does that look like in the future? Them wearing body cams so that nothing like this happens anymore, where it's a one-sided story and you have only the cop side of the version and the deceased isn't here to defend themselves.
How do you feel, as this all took off with George Floyd and then, Black Lives Matter, and then from that came the defund the police movement? Where do you stand on any of this? I mean, Chantel was killed, kind of in the midst of this, I guess. Where do you stand on the whole notion of defunding police and taking those resources and putting them in other places?
Putting them in different places where they're needed. When you have a wellness call, do you really need to send a police who's armed to the teeth, and then you have somebody who's already going through something, and then you're throwing a police in there with a gun? So why not take a different avenue and try something different? Because this isn't working with the police.
Who do you think would have been better suited to attend that call to check on Chantel that day?
Well, this is the one thing, when they say a wellness check, she was not trying to harm herself. They believed that somebody was there who was stalking her. So I think when you look on a wellness check, you kind of have to think about what that person going through. Are they suicidal? Do they need maybe mental health to step in and maybe aid the police? And it's hard to say because, wellness checks are not all the same.
Yeah. Well, Martha, we thank you for taking time to join us today, and we'll be talking to you, of course, when you hear back from the Crown Attorney there.
Okay, for sure. And now I have your email, so
yeah,
once I hear back more, I'll keep in touch with you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Martha.